Hello and welcome to the Dweebz Japanese podcast. I am one of your hosts, Patrick.
And I am also one of your hosts. Cool.
Yeah. So we just got done watching Darker Than Black episode 13. It's part of our Watch Dweebz Watch anime series, and where we watch Japanese anime without subtitles. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't watched any of those episodes, go watch a couple. Of course, with the anime, don't watch just us because that's crazy.
Yeah,
and it'd be really boring.
I think.
Yeah. So, episode 13. What happened? I think that the last thing I remember is it's mostly about Dean, right? The story was mostly about Dean, who's like
it's like her backstory.
Doll. Do you know how to describe her?
Yeah, well, now she is a doll, so she's like their kind of recon person. You know, she sends out that little spirit thing to go spy on people. But apparently, she wasn't always like that because she has a history with her piano teacher and her mom. So
doesn't that almost feel
between that?
Yeah, doesn't that almost feel suspicious? Like she was sort of normal. She was kind of like not super normal in the beginning because she was like, I love bathing in the light of the moon, which is sort of...
She's kind of a weird kid, yeah.
Which is sort of fishy, but I know there's kids out there who do that. But they're also fishy kids.
Yeah, so now they're like kind of torn between, her past life and her current one, so they both want her back.
Both being who? That her mom and...
No, like, I would assume, her mom and teacher, and then Hey and the other group, they want her back too, because...
Right. That's actually a good, like, interesting sort of not metaphor necessarily, but she is torn. I was thinking more of like she wasn't torn between picking her old life or her new life, but like due to circumstance, she lost her like consciousness or whatever because the dude stole it from her because she was like spying or whatever. And so she literally is consciouslessness or whatever in that episode, and so she's just walking around like a real kind of doll, like where am I, what am I doing? But there's other people searching for her. So the weird thing of it to me is like, why is the teacher who's a teacher, I guess he cares about her or whatever, but
well, there's that little hint that,
that they were
in the backstory, that the mom and teacher, so maybe maybe it was more than that at some point. We have like a little gap of what we saw.
What if he's somehow involved though? Like with the, because one of the dudes can steal consciousnesses or whatever from like dolls. So I wonder if there's anything to do with that. Like the teacher has anything to do with that.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention those guys too. I don't know exactly what their motive is. What were they trying to do? Like, did you catch that?
Not really. No, they were just talking about their taika. They're just contractors. Like, I don't know. Again, many of them don't really have their own... They don't really have feelings, like actual sentiment toward anything.
Because the newspaper-looking guy, he was trying to have Yin come to him for some reason.
What? I think it was just to destroy her or something, right? Like, I don't think it was really that deep or anything.
Gotcha.
I will say, though... Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
So I will say we keep getting more hints that Hey is different because he clearly cares about Yin like more than the others do. Like, saving her. Yeah,
right.
Hey. He went out of his way to save her. If he was a normal contractor, there wouldn't be a reason to do that.
Right. His partner, the big grumbly guy, he was talking about like, hey, we need to save her. They all seem to be like, oh, they lost consciousness or whatever. Like she lost her consciousness, and he's like, we got to save her. We got to save her. We got to save her. So like the older grumbly dude seemed a little bit, to me at least, more, I know that Hay was like upset, and the cat was also like, I think they're all on the same page, right? Like that we need to go find Dean. But it seemed like the older dude was complaining more about it. He's like,
interesting.
I don't know. Maybe I completely misunderstood that. Um, maybe I misunderstood that nuance, but at least that's what I got out of it. Like, oh, he seems a little bit more, because that he was like speaking kind of. I don't know. I have to actually
Kind of
go back to
angry.
that scene that they were talking. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if it's one of those cases where it's like part of the job, so he's angry, or if it's like he actually cares. You know what I mean? I can't tell
I
if it's one
think
of those.
I think because he's usually sort of like
He's usually
not
pretty.
invested in what they're like. He just like, let's just get the job done type of thing,
Yeah, he does
almost
like
like a
to yell
kid.
at hay though, for some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah. But this episode, he seemed a little bit more like emotional about it,
True, you're right
which is
about
interesting.
that.
So, and again, I forgot what he said. I just remember him talking about like near the end, like be careful, and then the sort of the beginning, he was just talking about like Dean is walking around without. He kept saying that he's like Dean is walking around without consciousness. Dean is like in a bad state. Oh, this is bad. We need to go get her, type of thing.
Gotcha.
And I forgot what Hay said, and I forgot what the cat dude. What's his name again? My
It's Mal,
Mao
I think,
Mao Mao Mao. Right.
because
I
it
knew it was like
sounds
a
like
Chinese name.
meow.
Yeah. Oh, Meow. Yeah. I should remember it that way. But I forgot. Yeah. So I love where the story's going. I almost kind of wish they just started with this, but I mean, I know it was like a
Oh
pilot, and they
yeah,
were trying to get the whole entire. They had to sort of like explain
yeah, because
the.
there's no previous like
Yeah,
media for it,
I think
so
there's
that does make
probably
sense.
a way to do it during a story. Like movies do that, right? And a show
Yeah.
is longer than a movie, so
Yes.
there's a way to. You don't have to like expository
Like
explanation.
don't.
That's kind of implied, but for every little thing, right? But it is sort of like a kid's show. It's not really, it's like a teenager show. It's not really
Hmm.
um, meant to go super super deep or anything. But it is kind of deep. I don't know. I like the themes, especially near the this part, like the middle chunk, or sort of nearing the end of the show.
Yeah.
It's cool. All right. Anyways, moving on. Latest news about your Japanese study habits, Khalil.
So I've been like dissecting every, or not every, some kanji every once in a while, just kind of
Ooh.
searching it up, and it's kind of hard searching by radicals, right? I'm sure you've done that plenty of times.
Yeah. Yep.
Because some radicals are skewed depending on what kanji they're in, and then sometimes there are things that I would think are a combination of radicals that are actually, I'm assuming, so common that they just become their own radical, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tend to
Yeah.
miss that a lot.
Yep.
But yeah, I was doing that, learned a lot of random kanji, and then I'm gonna kind of waiting to see them pop up on WaniKani because that's always fun. Speaking of which, last week learned the word shape, which was katachi, right? I just
Yep.
saw that pop up in my WaniKani lessons the other day. I was like, oh, I didn't even know
Nice.
that.
Nice. Perfect timing. Oh wait. So you're
Yeah.
so explain what you're doing. You're learning a radical through Wanikani, and then you're going looking up kanji that uses it.
No, I'm using the radical knowledge from WaniKani to see a kanji uh, that I don't know looks interesting to me visually or something, or that is a part of a word I can't read or something, and just look it up
So
using
use it.
those radicals.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. So you're
Yeah,
learning like the radicals or the kanji, and then going looking them up using
yeah. If I see
what you learned.
them, yeah,
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I never thought about doing that really. Because they eventually pop up late again, like you were saying, they eventually pop up
yeah.
later. But that's an interesting study.
It's like a sneak peek.
Yeah, interesting study sneak peek, or like a way to kind of dig in a little bit more, and go do a little bit more self study. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. Yeah, I'm still going through, my level 7. I think I'm actually at a good pace now because I should be able to. I might be wrong, but I feel like I will be able to progress through this level a little bit faster than last level 6.
Sweet.
So that's kind of cool.
Is that
Um,
because of habits or something, or?
yeah, and Well, that and I doubled. Recently, I doubled the amount of lessons I do.
To 10 or
learning
to
10, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I think that's a good pace. I haven't really gotten burnt out yet from it. That might change, but then I can just drop down to 5, which is just what I was doing before. So it's not like a huge loss or anything. Also found, we were talking about this a little before we started recording, found the Pasteru Kazoku, which is one of the Japanese comic series that Patrick talked about. Not sure how many episodes ago, but it was a bit ago when we were on the topic of the Kamiko. So I found that, and if you want to try looking into it, it's a pretty simple one. It's like a.
I wonder if, because on iOS again we can't download Komiko, which is so sad. But
do you have access to the website? Is it a website or is it just an app?
I think it's just an app. But I want to look it up because I like that comic so much. I wish that I had access to it. So I wonder. Yeah, I see the website. Oh, I see manga online, and I see it. I wonder if that's something that I can actually read. Yeah, if I go to Komiko, the site. Oh, wait, what? Am I able to read it here? Oh, I am able to read it online. What? Okay, I have to put this in the description. This is awesome.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not just. I can see it. I can see it, and I see Komiko. So if you go to. I can see it. If you go to Komiko, actually, if you just type in Japanese, Pasteru Kazoku, so Pasteru Kazoku into Google, then it'll pop up, and you can see the web page, and then you can also read it from the newest episodes. I don't. Oh, I see. So you're able to like preview the next one for money. Oh, there's a couple
like
ones you actually have to download the, like the recent ones. You have to like purchase with points and stuff like that. I think that if you have an account and then log in, then you're probably okay. I think some of them are points though. You have to like buy and then read. So there might be other places that you can read it. Oh, I see. It's free up until 32. Like episode or installment 32.
Yeah.
So at least it's like a starting place though. I didn't realize that, it was points after 32.
That's weird. And then there's like a lot of random free ones sprinkled in.
That's a good point. There are a couple of random free ones. I just saw that too. Like 400, for example, is free. Yeah. So, but I mean, like, again, it's a good starting point. And if you really enjoy it, I think I even would pay points for it. I don't know how much each one are, but if they're like $1 or something, then it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Yeah. But they're cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and post this in the description of this video for the website, and then the link to this particular story.
And then if you guys find any interesting ones, go ahead and post them. In the comments. Let us know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad we finally found that.
Yeah, me too. I'll read up. I'm gonna try to read through this. Kind of an easy format just to do on the phone.
It would actually, it would actually be kind of cool to read this on the podcast. I don't know through licensing. I think it's probably fine for us to like show it and then read it together, like share our screen and then read it together.
Oh, I see.
That would be kind of fun as a segment. Maybe we should start doing that.
Yeah, let's look.
Maybe it's a separate video.
Okay.
But or maybe just during like our story time, we can do that. And we can go through the things together. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that next time. We're gonna finish the story that we read last time, and then maybe next time we'll go to Pasteru Kazoku. But yeah, you got any more updates?
No, that's about it. Just kind of, keeping at it. So what about you?
Sweet. That's the key to success is small wins every day.
Yes.
And then so like to you, it feels like not necessarily, well, maybe it feels like a grind, but hopefully it doesn't. Right. Yeah. But it's the small wins every single day. You're like, yeah, I got something done today. Like, I feel productive today. And then looking from the outside, people are like, because I felt that way for years, right? I feel like I'm nowhere near fluency. I'm nowhere near proficiency. And I still feel that way. sometimes. But and then like I'll talk to my extended family or whatever, and they're like, over here in the US, they'd be like, "You speak Japanese?" They'd be like, "Yeah, I can kind of speak like conversationally. I'm not native or anything, but I can speak conversationally. I can get through a conversation." And then they're like, "What?" And then they see me talking, like even my parents do. They see me talking to Judy. They see me talking to my in-laws, and then they're like, "This is weird. Like, where did this come from?" Type of thing. But to me, it just feels gradual. It feels like the gradual progression of 7 years or whatever, 8 years now of speaking Japanese, and then obviously marrying Judy, and then being incorporated into their family. And that's when I actually got way better at Japanese, is being with them all the time. So but it still felt gradual to me. I felt like I was just constantly struggling and trying to understand, and then I get pieces and pieces here, and then a lot of that every day, time progresses, and then you get better, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the little things, it's the little wins. Recently I've been super busy. Which I think I say every week, trying to find like reading time for my book during the day is kind of hard, because every time I have it scheduled on my calendar, 11:30 every day, I try to go take 30 minutes or so to go read the book, and then just kind of like decompress for a second before I can go back to work and then finish the day. But I find that almost every single time I try to do that, there's something that comes in, like a message that comes in from a manager or whatever, and I need to go finish something. And then I finish it, and it's already like 12:30 or 1, and I feel like, oh, I might as well just finish out the day. And then I go to my next thing and my next thing, and I kind of skip it. So I might move it earlier to take a break. I think it's probably the best idea. Kind of match it with my coworkers' coworkers' break, like lunch break. Because right now there's I live in Hawaii, and they live in Pacific time, so it's kind of like my 11:30 for you guys is 2:30. So that's probably why the messages keep coming in, is because it's like a different time. So
gotcha.
I probably need to adjust that. Actually, as I'm saying that, I'll probably do that. But yeah, I think that it's going good though. I enjoyed the book that I'm reading. Obviously, there's a bunch of like sci-fi words, which are kind of crazy, but I think that I definitely need to change the time that I read. Just change it now.
I see.
But I speak a lot more Japanese than I like read it and write it. But again, I'm trying to focus on reading, so hopefully this time change will work. It's just weird because like reading at 9:30, like my lunch break is at 9:30. That's really strange to me, but that's actually 12:30 based on the time that I work, so it's fine, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so let's move on to the favorite Japanese words recently. So you got a lot of words this week, more than me.
Yeah. Well, a couple.
Tell me what
two of them from Dark Than Black.
Sweet.
One of them was Heibo, which is kind of funny after I looked it up, because it means like well, okay, I also learned a new English word from this one, which what was it? I think it was
double
bungler.
Whammy.
Yeah, bungler, which is like also clumsy, like a clumsy
person. To bungle something,
yeah, which I've never heard that before in English.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and that was when Mao was talking to. He saw the detective duo, and he said that about them.
Oh, Hebo.
Yeah, he said like Hebo something, and then ran away. And then also the Mangetsu, which that was a big one, big old full moon.
Yep. Mangetsu. Yeah.
Let's see. And then these other words are words. Let's see. This word is monogatari, which is like a tale.
Monogatari.
Yeah, it's like a tale or story, right?
Yep. Like a legend, sort of like a tale of, once upon a time, all of those stories.
Yeah, it's interesting because the first kanji is like it's object, right? Thing.
Yeah.
And then what is the second kanji? I feel
it means language or story.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that one's also pronounced go, right? Like
yep.
Go or okay. I think that's where I've seen it from.
What did you learn? for that one.
Hmm?
What
I haven't.
reading did you learn? Oh,
I haven't. Wait. For which one first?
because I only know the goal reading for goal. I don't know if I have any other readings for monogat. Oh, I guess gattari. Sorry, yeah, gatta. Yeah, gattari is kind of weird. Like kattari. Oh, sorry. Yeah. That makes sense. So kataru is like to talk. And I think it uses
Oh,
that kanji. So that's why it's like
I
talking about
see.
stuff. Basically, is what
Yeah.
monogatari means. But also, interesting thing about monogatari, if I can interject, is that you know how we say in the beginning, or we say what else do we say for that? For
Once
those type
upon
of
a
stories,
time.
once upon a time. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
In the beginning or once upon a time. In Japanese, it almost starts out. It almost always starts out with mukashi mukashi, like
Yeah.
long long ago. Yeah. If you hear that, that's a monogatari. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Then we got Mudio, which is like free, and I found that from from Komiko.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was like, what does that mean? I know none of those kanji. So I was using that technique I mentioned to you, but just looking
Yeah.
them
For the
up through the
radicals.
radicals. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I keep seeing that. What does that mean?
Have you tried, by the way, instead of the radicals, which might work, because it also kind of reinforces your radical knowledge. But have you ever tried to just draw it?
Do they have that? Like I don't think
Yeah.
I could do that
There's a
on
lot of kanji recognizer apps. So maybe not the dictionary app that you're using. The dictionary app on iOS, I think it's just called Japanese, allows you to do that. But there's some
that's really
apps.
cool.
Yeah, there's some apps that allow you to just. There's I think it's called Kanji Recognizer on Android, on Google Play, and you just draw the
Okay.
kanji, and then a bunch of kanji will pop up. Um, and you select one, and you can copy it and put it in your dictionary. I think it will tell you the reading and meaning too, though.
Okay. Yeah, I just remember looking into it a while ago, like kind of like a long while ago, and whatever I found needed stroke order, and I was like, "There's no way. Why would I? How could I look up a kanji and know the stroke order? I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, I know there's
some
rules
of
for it,
it's sort of
but
clunky. It's better than nothing, but
yeah,
I agree with you. Yeah,
agreed.
but looking like through a long list of
Yeah, it
radicals
also
is
sucks.
more annoying in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'll get one of those and use it as
Also,
more of a supplementary, huh?
right, taking a picture and maybe putting it in the Discord. I would love for other people to do this too. If you guys are interested in joining the Discord, then because it's kind of sparse, like basically nothing right now.
Hmm.
But it'd be fun to have more conversation in there for like questions. If you post a picture, like take a picture of something, don't expect a quick response. But if you post a picture in it, if I know, I'll respond immediately. If I don't know, then I can go look it up. Because I have more practice now with like writing kanji, even if I don't know it, kind of in a
Cool.
struct order.
Mm.
Um, it really
Yeah.
just goes left to right, top left to bottom right. That's how
Yeah.
you really write it. Uh,
It's nice because if you know how to, that's the nice thing about the radicals, because if a kanji is made up of different radicals, you just follow the stroke order of the radicals. Then,
right.
right.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if you have a channel for that, but go ahead and post anything like the conversation or the random or whatever, maybe kanji,
Hmm.
and then post a picture of it and say, "Hey, do you know what this means?" And then let me know if you can't find it quickly, and then just share something.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Uh, yeah, and the last word, Meidama Yaki, is that
Yeah, my
still
favorite.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think this is one I learned from skimming through the pastel
Oh,
because
yeah.
I was like wait, something about eyes, and I was like, no, that can't be right.
They're eating eyeballs.
Yeah, I was like, fried eyeballs. But yeah, it's just like a fried egg. Pretty
Yep.
good, classic, you know.
Medama, like
Probably gonna have one of those
cooked eyeball.
cooked eyeball.
But yeah, it's like the fried egg.
Yeah, so that's cool. And yeah, those are the words of the week.
Sweet. I already forgot. Oh, so my words are do miyaku ryu, which is a complicated word that I'll never remember. But miyaku I remember is like vein. Do is movement, and then the last one ryu, I'm not even sure what that means. And it's not like ryugaku. I'd have to look that up to be honest, but it means aneurysm.
Oh,
Nice word. I was talking about that the other day, and so that came up. So, domyaku is artery. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So, ryu means lump and swelling. I haven't learned that actually yet, so it's probably in level 60 or something because I'm level 57 in Wanikani. So, ryu means lump. Anyways,
interesting.
aneurysm. The next word is console, which you learn pretty early in Wanikani actually, but I forgot it. So it means like impressions or feelings. Actually, when I see the kanji, I remember it. I'm like, oh, feelings or like impression, especially impression. But they were talking about that too. So they say ishiki, like consciousness or whatever.
Yeah.
Console also means impressions, like thoughts, feelings, or reactions, but probably more thoughts and feelings. Because the dude he was talking about on his team, the grumbly dude, was talking about. Oh no, I'm sorry, not him. The dude who was chasing Dean and like stealing her consciousness. That dude said, like console kanjiten desho, like or whatever. I don't remember exactly what he said, but because she was chasing her feelings. He's like, her consciousness because she felt it. She was like looking for it, and that's why it led her to him, and he was doing that on purpose.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's it for me. Wall of Shame word Khalil. You got. I mean, obviously we have 2 every week because that's what Wanikani limits us to. But what are they? They're new.
Yeah. I got what's it? I think it's Tsu, like it's longer. It means like to pass through, and I don't know. I can't. It's one of those things that it's hard for my brain to kind of form like a little
Mnemonic.
meaning capsule around and be like, all right, to pass through. Like that's kind of I can't really picture that in my head unless like I'm picturing a ghost going through a wall. But I feel like that might even.
What is the mnemonic? Is it like elephant riding a scooter tries to pass through a wall but can't or something like that?
No, that actually sounds kind of better because it's like let's see, you have a mom with a task on a scooter, and then she has to pass. She's passing through, and then you have to do it too. Some of them are just so like cheesy.
It's a stretch.
Like, oh, man.
It's a stretch.
Yeah.
It's trying to connect all the radicals together, but it's a stretch.
Sometimes you don't have to. Like
mom task on a scooter sounds like she's going grocery shopping or maybe just to the store or something and having a task. And then
but the elephant on a scooter, that could pass through a wall all right.
Yeah. I vaguely remember that being elephant, but maybe I'm totally wrong. I don't know. The next one.
Yeah, so the radical's elephant, but like the kanji is task is how Wanikani has it set up. So I always
Yeah.
I always
that's right.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I have the wrong kanji here. But it's supposed to be Naoru.
Naoru. Yeah. Which there's 2, right? There's like to be fixed, and then the other one means to be cured.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay.
Hold on.
Different kanji.
There it is. Oh, I guess that is the right one. The font
that's the right one.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's like missing its left vertical line. That's weird, man.
I see it.
I don't know why I can't, but it's all good. Yeah. So I have 100%. Oh, on the last one to pass through, I have 50% meaning, 33% read. I think. Yeah, I'll fix that. For to be fixed, now we got 100% meaning, 50% reading, and that has been an accident. Because I just typed it in wrong.
Why didn't you just cancel? Like, if you type it in wrong by accident, why do you keep leaving it as if
it doesn't? It doesn't. It just I type it in wrong and then I hit enter because I'm doing it so fast.
Yeah,
it submits it as wrong. So it's just one of those things.
Interesting.
Because I learned Naosu pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, it's just the same thing, but it's like the, what is it called? Not the intrinsic, extrinsic, I think. Like when it's
Intransitive.
affecting you, intransitive, is that it? I don't know any.
Well, intransitive is like it's happening.
Oh, you're sharing your
But
screen, by the way.
yeah, I'm trying to do this because I want to try something. I want to see if this is gonna work. If it doesn't, that's fine. But right now we're looking at the kanji. Hopefully you can see it. So he's talking about naoru, and that's the intransitive, right? Because it's not, you're not actively. That's not the act. Somebody isn't actively doing the action. Like that would be naosu, like fixing.
Yeah.
Naoru is it's being fixed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right here.
So those are the. Yeah, it's funny. I don't see that line on. What font do you have?
I have I don't know system.
You're
on Windows.
The same font.
You're on Windows. I'm on Mac. So there'd be different system fonts. Unless Google, I don't know, Google overrides it or whatever. Did you have anything more to say about Naoru?
No, I do not.
Cool. I have again Su, which is the content that we've been talking about for a long time. It's going to be there forever, and then I have which is that has I haven't seen this in forever, so that's why it's still staying the same. And then Kyuchi is something I get right every single time when it comes to meaning, but reading reading I get right all the time, but the meaning is weird. So the first kanji means destitute, and the second kanji means land. So I think of like destitute land, poverty, or something like that. But the meaning is actually dilemma.
Oh, that's not what I was.
So it's really, it's not something you guess immediately. It's pretty odd. So, yeah. So that makes it hard to remember. Moving on. So our next thing is hua. It's actually ha. Ha, but when you say it in a sentence, right, you say wa. It just kind of rolls that way and has changed a lot. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and change the size of my screen here. Let me know if it fits the window okay for you. Let me know if there's like a bunch of black bars or if you can see things correctly. Are we good? Let me go ahead and try to do this. Is it changing size for you?
Yeah, for me it is.
Cool. Okay, so I just want to make sure that for YouTube it looks okay, because this is something new I want to try and sort of spur of the moment. Sorry about that. So we're going to move over to, yes, the grammar lesson quickly here with Tofugu. And this really should have been in one of our first episodes, I think. We should have started from the basics, but we didn't because we're odd. We also started from the 4th episode of Watch Dweebz, Watch Anime, so that was kind of odd. We like to do things a little bit differently here. So, hua is I shouldn't say that, sorry. Wa, I don't want to confuse people.
Yeah.
Is again a topic marker. Woohoo! And so watashi wa. So I, watashi wa gohan o taberu. Like I eat food, right? Gohan o. And so o is the other particle, just like wa. Wa is like the topic marker. It's a subject marker. Which we all should know, right, at this point, if you're listening, if you're studying Japanese, if you kind of know those basics, right? Just like the subject marker.
Like one of the earliest things.
Yes. But there are like different ways to use it. There are different nuances to it. We also talked, I think, last week about sort of clauses. Like you can say, Nihon e iku no wa itsu desu ka? So this is a more polite sentence, right? So, Nihon e iku no wa itsu desu ka? So you can make you can make the whole sentence into a noun by using koto, or you can use no, and it turns that whole sentence into like a noun, and you can use wa as the particle.
Oh, that's right.
To like mark the subject of what you're talking about, and then you ask your question or say something, right? So, Nihon e iku no wa itsu desu ka? So they put some brackets around here to help you see the sentence. Let me bump this font up a little bit to help. They put some brackets around this first clause to make it clear, there's like two sentences happening here, and really in one sentence. But you wouldn't say it like that. You would say it, Nihon e iku no wa, and honestly, I would say, Nihon ni iku no wa itsu desu ka? That's how I would say it. But e is the more polite way to say it, right? It's like, e almost means sort of direction of Japan.
Oh.
So again, like things that are not direct, it's less direct. So like the things that are not less direct are a little bit more polite in Japanese, which is interesting. So, there's another way there's a couple nuances, right? So like, kohi o nomimasu ka? Like, do you drink coffee? It's very direct again, more like polite. Sorry, if you were to make kohi the topic, that's a little unexpected. Kohi wa nomimasu ka? Yeah, so I like that they're saying this. They're like, you're talking about, there's a bunch of little nuances that are different. Let me know if you have a better way to explain it. But like, kohi wa nomimasu ka? It's sort of like you're setting the tone for the conversation. Like, oh, coffee. Oh, do you want some? Versus kohi o nomimasu ka? Do you want coffee, or do you drink coffee? So if you're like asking somebody if they want to drink coffee, you'd say kohi o nomimasen ka? That's a way to ask, like, do you not want to drink coffee? Is the polite way in Japanese to say, do you want to drink coffee? It's really weird. So right, literally, I might want to say, kohi o nomitai desu ka? Do you like to drink coffee? Do you want to drink coffee? Is that like, do you want to drink coffee? But in reality, the way you like ask, the way you ask it though to most people is like, kohi o nomimasen ka? Or kohi wa nomimasen ka? There's a little bit of a nuance, but think of it as like, oh, coffee. Like, oh, coffee. Do you want some? Do you want to drink? Do you want to drink? Versus, do you want to drink coffee? There's one that's a little bit more direct, and there's another one that's a little bit less direct, and it has a little bit of a different nuance, but it's basically the same thing. Just a different way to say the same thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There's another thing. There's another example. There's a contrasting two topics, right? Tokyo wa atae ga takai kedo, inaka wa atae ga yasui. So, did I say that wrong? So, butsutai? Buka. Sorry. Buka is like living expenses. Yeah. Yeah, I saw this one, atae, and I just read it as atae. But buka. So, 日本は物価が高いけど、田舎は物価が安い. So I think I said earlier too that maybe I didn't in another episode, but you have one sentence, you're saying something. In Tokyo, the buka, like the living expenses and stuff like that, takai, kedo, but. So in Tokyo, it's the living expenses are high, but in the countryside, the living expenses are cheap. And and they say high cost of living. Sorry, I wasn't even reading that. So it's a way to I like this little thing here. It's like a spotlight on the topic, and this is supposed to be lots of yen, 1 yen. I like this comic here.
Yeah.
So it's just like shining the spotlight. You're marking the subject, which I love about Japanese. Like you can use particles to be very explicit on what you're trying to say. So another way to do it too is a little bit more. You can change the nuance of things too. So you can use like the noun form of an e adjective. So for example, muzakashi, the noun form of that adjective, you would take out the e, add a ku. Right? So you'd say muzukashiku. So that is now the noun of difficult, muzakashi. So now you're saying difficulty kind of, and then you could say wa. So muzukashiku wa is like difficulty, nai. Nai is like there's none of something, right? So muzukashiku wa nai, there's no difficulty. But in more natural English should be it's not difficult. Muzukashiku nai is a more like casual,
more direct too, right?
More direct, like to the point type of way to say it. Muzukashiku wa nai is a way to sort of like draw it out.
I see.
It's difficulty. It's not that difficult. Like difficulty, there's none. That's a weird way to say that in English, but I can't really think of a really quick correlation. It's just it's a different way to say the same thing. You're just kind of putting wa there to break it up, and then the nuance there is muzukashiku wa nai. Muzukashiku wa, as for the difficulty, nai. It's not there. So you're kind of emphasizing it in a different way, sort of more just to be like sort of speak eloquently. Another way to say this too, right, is if it's a keigo, like more formal speak, you'd say like muzukashiku wa arimasen. Ga is like a polite way to say but. At the end of a sentence, it means like the polite way to say but. So muzukashiku wa arimasen ga jikan ga kakarimasu. So difficulty, there isn't any difficulty, but it's going to be, it's going to take time. I like the way that they put this in the article. It's not exactly difficult. So that's sort of the nuance, right? Is it's exactly is a way to put a nuance, like a spin on the way you're saying it, right? Because without the exactly, it's not difficult, right? That's kind of like straight to the point, very neutral. If you're saying it's not exactly difficult, it means like there's more you want to say. Like there's more to be said. That's kind of, I guess, the nuance of adding wa there.
I see now.
Because you're like marking the subject and you're just saying nai. And then probably the person you're talking to will say like, oh, okay, why? You're talking about the subject, muzukashiku, difficulty. Like, okay, if it's not difficult, why is it difficult? And you'll kind of like lead into the conversation more. But if you just say muzukashiku nai, it kind of ends the conversation. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, it's not difficult. That's like a fact.
Yeah, I guess the way I'm thinking of it is because you're adding the wa in there, you're like keeping the topic open still.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it for sure. There's another way to say, actually, so interestingly enough, you've probably heard of janai, right? So you're saying like the negative form of a noun, for example. So yume janai. I know that I'm showing right here, if I highlight it, I'm showing yume de wa nai. Ja is just the colloquial way to say dewa. So I'm sure you've probably heard people say dewa, like dewa. Literally, they're saying the more polite version of ja, because ja is just sort of like a rendaku of dewa. So basically, over time, people found it easier to say ja than it is dewa, like especially when you're speaking quickly. That's the reason rendaku exists, is because it's easier to say than like toki is harder to say fast than tokidoki.
Yeah.
So in the same vein of like train of thought, ja is easier to say than dewa.
Yeah.
So yume janai is easier to say than yume dewa nai quickly, right? So so it's just a more polite way to say, like a kind of a slower, more polite way to say ja.
Okay.
Yume dewa nai ga ninki wa aru. So that's another weird way, right? So ninki wa aru. Ninki desu is fine too.
Okay.
But here they use ninki wa aru. So again, those are like the kind of a nuance. It's not really direct necessarily. It's not like to the point. It's sort of adding a nuance of like kind of unsurety, which kind of begs more questions. So another example too. Sensei de wa arimasen ga setsumei ga umai na hito, jouzu na hito desu. So setsumei ga jouzu na hito desu. This is kind of, there's different ways to say this. There's like jouzu and there's also umai. This has like exactly the same kanji. Which is sort of
meaning too.
The meaning is pretty much the same. Umai also means skilled. The difference is that there's an e at the end of umai. This is the na adjective, which is a different word, same meaning pretty much, which is jouzu. And then you add na to it, right, to make it a na adjective. You learn this in Wanikani too. Jouzu, I think, comes up really quickly. Umai comes up a little bit later. So yeah, I mean, different ways to say it. It's pretty much the same thing. So again, sensei de wa arimasen ga. He's not a teacher. So not exactly a teacher. It's kind of the nuance there. And they put actually, but I think I like their exactly, their English example. They're not exactly a teacher. You're kind of like adding
it's
sort of a
still
lightness to it.
Or yeah.
It kind of begs more questions. Too. Yeah.
Like, what do you mean by not exactly? Like, there's usually more information coming.
There's more information coming, or there's not, and like the listener will probably ask, like, "Sensei de wa nai ga." Stop. And then somebody, like, okay, tell me more. So this is what are they saying here? Apart from very specific circumstances, ha or wa cannot be used immediately after question words like dare, nani, doko, because the topics are something listed in consciousness. The very nature of the question was, if we know, yeah, right. So like, this is a good point. This is a really, really good point. So dare wa, you would never say that. Like doko wa, you'd never say that. And they're saying because the topic is always something that is on the listener's consciousness. The very nature of the question words is that they're asking about unknown information. So wa is sort of like when you know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're saying you don't know, you probably use ga to like emphasize that this is the thing and I want to ask about it. So that's a really good point. I like this that they put this in the article just to make it different than wa, because ga is more of like you're adding emphasis. If you're asking a question, then you probably use ga most of the time, unless you know the subject. Like, even 彼が何歳ですか? 彼は何歳? You probably say 彼が何歳ですか? Yeah, when you're asking a question. But especially with like 誰 or どこ, どこが食べたい? Stuff like that. Yeah, it's all like, again, it's all touch and feel, but I think that's a good distinction to make, is you would never use like wa after doko or dare. Those kind of like direct question, who, what, when. Itsu wa, itsu ga hajimeru, itsu ga hajimeru. Yeah, I don't think you have to use wa after that. You probably use ga, because it's like a question that you don't really know the topic of quite yet. Hopefully that makes sense.
I think so.
So yeah, this is an interesting way. Another interesting point. Wa can be used with some particles to make compound particles. However, it cannot be combined with other particles like ga, o, or wo, or mo. Yeah, that's an interesting point. You'll notice this when you're reading, though. You'll never see like wa something something. Sorry, you'll never see like wa mo. You'll see de wa. But you can't really mix ga and wa together, for example, and you can't mix o and wa together. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense in a sentence. Yeah, but niwa, sorry, dewa and niwa, it's you can use. So you can't use owa or something. You can't use gawa. That's weird. But you can use
gawa,
niwa, and dewa. Those are the only two examples. Yeah, this is an interesting point too. So niwa is sort of like you're kind of stating a fact. You're saying like Nihon ni wa itakoto ga aru. So you're saying that I've been to Japan. Itakoto wa, itakoto ga. It's like the fact of being, or sorry, the fact of going to. I have. So Nihon ni wa is like to Japan. So you're saying.
Oh yeah.
It's the topics like to Japan. The fact of going, I have. It's like the literal translation of that. Nihon ni wa itakoto ga aru. That's how you say that. Nihon ni wa, so Nihon ni itakoto ga aru. You can say that too, but again, it's like you're interjecting injecting the wa in there, and so it's making the nuance that 日本には行ったことがある. You're kind of emphasizing the subject a little bit more.
Okay.
Like if somebody asked you, for example, Asia, are you good? All good?
Yeah, sorry.
Sweet, no worries. So if somebody asks you, for example, like アジアの国では、どこが行ったことありますか? So アジアの国では like so as for Asian countries, I use では there, right? アジアの国は is like Asian countries. But if I say では it's more like as for Asian countries, アジアの国では as for Asian countries, どこが行ったことがあり、アジアの国ではどこか行ったことがありますか? Like, have you been somewhere in as for the Asian countries? And I'll say like, 日本には行ったことがあります. Like, 日本にはto Japan I've been. Basically is how you say that. Again, there's just a bunch of different ways to say the same exact thing. Like you can say 日本に行ったことがあります. And that's totally fine. That's totally valid. It's just a little bit of a nuance that's a little bit different. It's a little bit indirect and a little bit slower way to say it, as if you have more to say, type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of good examples down here. I'm not going to go through all of them. You can go ahead and read this. Yeah, like this is a good point too. So you can use it for contrast as well. Again, there's a nuance of like not being as direct. Ga is more like this, right? It's emphasis. Ga is this, but wa is like a little bit less harsh or whatever, a little bit less direct, and you're like kind of leaving it open to talk about other things, or maybe talk about that subject more and ask more questions. 日本語が好きです is you're saying I like Japanese. 日本語が好きです You're saying like I like Japanese, but 日本語が好きです It's a little bit softer way to say that, and you're implying that there's maybe more to talk about. There again, it's just like less to the point, more just talking topically. And there's some other examples here, but we're kind of going along here, so I would encourage you guys to go read the article. It's interesting. There's a lot more to than what meets the eye, or whatever, however you say that. So I would encourage you guys to go read that. Okay, story time. Story time. So we're gonna go read 宇宙人猫ちゃんの食べ物探し again. So we're gonna be reading the second half. Yeah, hopefully we can get to it.
And we left off on 11 to 12.
Right.
Yep.
All right, let me go ahead and go to the story here. All right, so you see the color book now. Yay. All right, so we're starting off on the right page, right-hand side. Let's get started. お腹が空いた猫ちゃんはもう一歩だって歩きたくありません。その場に座り込んでると子供が2人やってきました。Oh, that didn't work. I'm trying to go next. I have to click. Interesting. 猫ちゃんは子供を食べてみようとしました。You can see by the picture. 猫ちゃんは子供を食べてみようとしました。So 食べてみよう, like trying to eat. Let's try to eat. としました。That's another way to say like, that's a way to say try to basically eat. 食べてみよう, like let's try to eat. としました is a way to quote that and then say try to do, or like しました is did, right? That's a very common way that's a very, very common phrase, by the way, is to say not something みよ or like 手 form みよ とする. It's like should try to do something is what it means, basically. Yeah. やめてよ、僕たちは食べ物じゃないんだ。お腹が空いてるなら一緒にプラムを取りに行こう。This little kid here. 猫ちゃんはIt looks like he is kind of cheering them on. Go, Space Cat! 猫ちゃんは子供が sorry. 子供が漕ぐ船で、I've never heard that before. 漕ぐ船で、プラムの島へと向かいました。There's a plum island. 船に乗るのが初めての猫ちゃんは波を手につけたりしてとっても不思議そうにしていました。He's putting his hands in the water.
Nice.
プラムの島はとっても小さいの島でしたが、一本だけ生えてる木にはとってもたくさんの実がなっていました。はい、どうぞ。子供が猫ちゃんに一つ実をもいでくれました。これがプラムだよ。それは宇宙を旅して見たものの中で、Sorry, I'm snoozing my alarm. 一番美味しそうに見えました。一口かじると、so かじる is like to bite into. 一口 is like one bite. Like 一口 is mouth, right? 一つ is one. 一口 is like basically one bite. かじると甘く酸っぱく、爽やかで、ちょっと不思議でした。美味しい、これは宇宙一美味しい食べ物だ。すっかりプラムが気に入った猫ちゃんは子供たちが止めるのも気にせず、全部のプラムを食べ尽くしてしまいました。Are they cheering? Is this person cheering him on, or is he like upset again?
Right, he looks exactly the same as they did before.
I'm not sure though. Yeah. 美味しかった。もっと食べたい。もうないよ。ここいらにはプラムの木はこの木だけなんだもの。じゃあ、増やせばいい。そういうと猫ちゃんはマイ UFO を呼び寄せました。すると、UFO から出てきた不思議な光がプラムの島をつつきました。子供たちは眩しくてしばらく目を閉じていました。次に目を開けた時には1本だったプラムの木は4本に増えていました。わーい。これでプラムがいっぱい食べられる。猫ちゃんは大喜び。喜び is like to rejoice, basically. 大喜び is like a, absolute rejoicing type of thing, like rejoicing a lot. All is like 大きい, right? 子供たちは there's no kanji here because it's like a children's book, so that's why it's sometimes hard to read.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't split up in my head. I have to like kind of parse it out. But 子供たちはびっくり仰天。again, the kanji. 子供たちはびっくり仰天です。よく見ると、4つのプラムの木はすべて実の形が違います。They're like hearts. And the other one's like eggplants or something. Or maybe pears. Yeah. 一つは、もともとのプラム。一つは、デコボコのプラム。一つはハート形のプラム。あとの一つは雫のような形のプラムです。Probably this one. Maybe もともとのプラム。雫。Maybe this one, yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it goes from top. Then here. デコボコのプラムはかじるとパチパチと弾けたのでパチパチプラム。That sounds weird. ハート形のプラムはプリンと揺れたのでプルプルプラム。Oh, it's like pudding. or maybe Jello. 雫形のプラムはかじると、ドロトトロ、トトロ、ドロトトロけたので、ドロドロプラムと名付けました。どのプラムもとっても美味しくて、子供たちも猫ちゃんも、そってたくさん食べました。うわ、お腹いっぱい。そう、大満足した猫ちゃんは、前 UFO に戻ると、大空の彼方に、旅立っていきました。お土産にたくさんのプランも持ってね。子供たちは、ちょっと寂しいと思いましたが、でも大丈夫です。猫ちゃんはお腹が空いたらまた来るよと言っていましたから。That's the end of the book.
Oh, okay. It was,
I want to visit these like Plum Islands. This is awesome.
I know. It became a plum-centric story pretty quickly.
Plum-centric story, yes. Like, it makes me think of like a customer-centric company. Like a plum-centric story. Sweet. There's a couple words in there that I didn't even know. Like, shizu, what was that? Shizumi? Or shizu? Shizuku. Shizuku, I don't really know. Shizuku. Dekoboko is like rough. But shizuku, I don't know what that is.
Rough. Let's give it a look.
Drop. Trickling, dripping, drop. So shizuku kadachi. So like a drop, like a water drop. Interesting.
I see.
I didn't know that. Are there any words that you didn't know that you want to talk about? So purin to yuruta. Yuruta is like yureru is to kind of shake. You know, like just like a pudding. It kind of shakes like pudding.
Oh, it's kind of shaky.
歯と形のプランはプリンと揺れたので it shakes like pudding. Puru puru pram. So puru puru is like, you could say that about somebody who's like sort of chubby. You know, their fat kind of shakes like pudding. So puru puru, you can say that about, you know, sort of like a human fat, or you could say that just as like pudding. Anything that looks like pudding.
Weird.
Puru puru. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you though. Any other words?
Let's see. We had so at the page when they were. Oh, okay. You said what was it? Decoboko. Decoboko is like rough. Was that the star looking one at the top left? Plum.
Yeah. Yep.
When it looks like an everlasting gobstopper.
Yeah.
See.
If it wasn't, yeah. Basically, yep.
Okay.
Kind of rough one. Any more? We good?
Yeah, I think we good.
Sweet, we good. Cool. All right. And yeah, do you have any conversation practice you want to do here? I mean, we kind of did a little bit. Let's do like just a couple of minutes, or maybe we can even skip it, unless you really want to do it.
It's up to you. If we're good on time, sure. If not,
yeah, ask me 2 questions. I'll be done.
Okay. プロム島は行きたい
もう聞くと思った。行きたいんだよ。もうすっごい美味しそうです。でもこの島はね、もう4つのプラムの種類があるよね。4つ。これなんだっけ？名前。デコボコのプラム。
はい。
で、これは何でしょう？
心臓。いえ。知りません。
なんだっけ？これかな？
丸い
これ普通のプラムじゃない。普通のプラム。
はい。プラムじゃない。
普通のプラム。で、これは何？
宇宙、前、
雫のプラム。
雫は何ですか？雫。
water drop みたいな。
ああ、はいはいはい。
雫のプラム。
あ
で、これはハート形でしょ？
はい。心臓
雫。
あ、いえいえ、あ、
あ、これ
あ、
心臓、
はいはい。
心臓は、それ、
心臓、
ニュアンスがあるよね。ハート形は、ハート形は、ハートこれ。だね。心臓は本当のもの、なんだっけ ?How do you say organ? I forgot how to say organ. But organ.
organ. ハートは、symbol.
そうそうそうそう。そうそうそう。
はい。
organ is それじゃない。風景じゃない。
風景
早期、臓器 right?
臓
臓器
器
Yeah, 臓器 is internal organ. 臓
あ、
器。
臓器。
So, yeah, 心臓は臓器 like your actual organ. But
あ、
heart though is just a shape, yeah, like a Valentine's Day heart or whatever.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, for, このページ、actually, my ページ、
はい。My page?
前、次じゃない。次じゃ
は
ない。前、次
次じゃないんだ。
はい、次じゃない、前。
お、前。うん。わかる。
これは正しい、正しいですか？
何の話？
あ
何か前の
あ、
話。お、この間の、前回の、
oh, 前回、
前回is last
previous?
time.
Oh, last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
先 is previous.
Oh, 先ページ
さっきのページ
先のページ。
それか、
先のページ。
前のページ ?You can say
Oh,
both.
前のページ。Okay.
Yeah.
前のページ、宇宙猫。Oh, いやいや、ふ、二
さっき
人、
のページ。
二人の、二人、子供
二人の子供
二人の子供、あ、
二人の子供のお腹
いえ、いえ、いえ、はい。何ですかあ、水、いえいえいえ、
ゆず
海の上、
海の上
何
海の上みたいに浮いてるごめん。浮いてる浮く、float。浮く。
はいはい、浮く。
海の上に浮いてるみたい。って言いたい
いえ、
違う。
ことは、違う、はい、違う。
違うんだ。
何者、何者
何者船
何者船、boat?
そう。
はいはいはい。ことは、探しています。
これ
船。いえ、次。はい。船。はい。右
のページだよね。
はい、右のページ。船。はい、忘れました。船。
船だね。工具船。工具船が、工具船で、工具船って何だろうなんかクヌーかな工具。初めて聞いた。工具船。
To row, paddle, 工具 paddle boat.
Paddle boat. 工具。Paddle boat. Okay. That makes sense.
Does.
That makes sense. Cool. 終わりにしましょうか。
はい。
この会話。Yay! You can actually see behind the scenes. This is our cheat sheet.
Yeah.
So our recommendation this week, let me stop sharing. It will definitely be Pasteru kazoku. You'll probably agree with that, right?
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Sweet. That would be awkward if you didn't. No, I hate it. The story sucks.
No, I hate it.
I recommend reading on your phone if it looks fine. I mean, if you like using your computer to read, I personally don't often do that, but the pictures are cute and I like the art style, and so it's like big on your computer.
Yeah,
so if you prefer that as I'm reading right now. It's kind of fun. Yeah, but I mean, obviously your phone's easier to use. So we went a little long. I tried to set my timer, but I ended up hitting snooze like a lot. So
yeah,
sorry about that, but hopefully it was interesting. Let's end this thing. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right,
guys.
Thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned until next week. Every Saturday morning we release a podcast episode, and every Wednesday I'm releasing the Watch Dweebz Watch Anime, and there's some highlights like between Wednesday and Friday, basically as like little teasers. Awesome. All right. Yep. Sayonara. Bye bye, King. Let me get the stop button.